your heart feels too heavy for your own hands to hold, and the silence around you feels bitter and cold. When the night presses low, like a stone on your chest, and your spirit grows weary from longing for rest, there is one who still sees you when no one is near, who still gathers your sorrow, who still listens for tears. He's not far from the places you hide in the dark, not far from the trembling, the ache or the scar. He has walked through the valley your thoughts cannot name, and he still calls you gently, still speaks to your pain. So breathe through the moment, though your strength may depart, for the Lord has not left your exhausted heart. When your heart feels too heavy, he's still holding you near. When your soul feels surrounded, his mercy is already here. Every burden you carry, every wound you conceal, he can soften with kindness, he can patiently heal. When your heart feels too heavy, do not sink into fear. The God who still loves you is already here. You have carried the weight of too many days, too many prayers that were lost in delay, too many memories still living inside, too many tears you were taught how to hide. You kept smiling through battles that hollowed your soul, kept standing through storms that were taking their toll. And maybe tonight you have nothing to say, only a tired kind of faith that still kneels to pray. But heaven is fluent in grief unspoken, and God is close to the bruised and the broken. He does not demand that your voice sounds strong, he just asks for your heart to keep coming along. Even if all you can offer is one whispered plea, that is enough for his mercy to see. When your heart feels too heavy, he's still holding you near. When your soul feels surrounded, his mercy is already here. Every burden you carry, every wound you conceal, he can soften with kindness, he can patiently heal. When your heart feels too heavy, do not sink into fear. The God who still loves you is already here. Healing does not always come like thunder and flame. Sometimes it comes softly, without warning or name. Sometimes it moves like a quiet warm rain, falling so gently through old hidden pain. Sometimes Sometimes the miracle is simply this: you survived another night and were not dismissed. You still lifted your eyes, you still called on His grace. You still found enough faith to remain in this place. And the Lord who kept watch through the deepest midnight is still working in silence, still restoring your life. He is healing the parts you thought time would erase, placing peace where there once was only heartbreak. So rest in His presence, let your breathing grow slow, for the God of all comfort is closer than you know. Lay the fear down, lay the questions down, lay the ache down, lay the shame down. You were never created to carry this alone. There is mercy in this room. There is peace at His throne. When your heart feels too heavy, He's still holding you near. When the night feels unending, His faithful light is still here. Every sorrow you carried, every sorrow an appeal, He has heard with compassion, and He longs to heal. When your heart feels too heavy, you do not walk through alone. The Lord who has kept you will carry you home.
In the quiet of midnight, when the world falls away and the noise of the daylight no longer can stay, when the room feels too empty for the thoughts in your mind, and the peace you were hoping for is too hard to find. There are wounds that awaken when the lights disappear, old memories whispering things you still fear. You may wonder if heaven has turned its eyes away, if the prayers you once trusted have begun to decay. But the God who formed ocean and scattered the stars still remembers the places where your deepest scars are. He is not blind to sorrow, not deaf to your cry, not distant from tears that fall late in the night. Even silence is language that heaven can read, and the Lord hears the ache in the prayers you don't speak. God still sees your pain, every tear you conceal, every shadow that follows, every wound that you feel. He still walks through the valley that you struggle to name, and His love has not changed, though the nights stay the same. God still sees your pain, every sorrow inside. Even when faith grows quiet, He is still by your side. And the hands that once formed every star in the sky are still holding your life when the tears start to cry. You have carried so much without letting it show. Learning how to keep walking through storms you don't know. You have smiled through the moments that hollowed your chest. Told the world you were strong while your soul begged for rest. You have stood in the silence when answers were late. Kept believing in mercy when surrounded by weight. And maybe tonight you feel tired of the fight, tired of waiting for morning after endless night. But the Lord who knows suffering knows where you stand, and He gently remembers every step that you stumble, every place where you fall. Only draws you much closer to carry it all. For the shepherd of mercy does not turn away. He walks with the broken through every dark day.
God still sees your pain, every tear you conceal, every shadow that follows, every wound that you feel. He still walks through the valley that you struggle to name, and His love has not changed, though the nights stay the same.
God still sees your pain, every sorrow inside. Even when faith grows quiet, He is still by your side. And the hands that once formed every star in the sky are still holding your life when the tears start to cry. Healing sometimes moves like a whispering breeze, not a thunder of power that falls to your knees. Sometimes grace grows slowly through sorrow and time, like a seed in the darkness, learning quietly to climb. Sometimes faith is simply one breath in the night, one small fragile prayer when you're losing the fight. And the God who hears sparrows when they fall from the sky, here's the weight of your heart every time that you cry. He is closer than fear,
Closer than doubt,
closer than question.
closer than question,
You still dream about.
still dreaming,
He is weaving redemption
still dreaming,
through things you can't see, turning wounds into stories of what grace can be. So rest for a moment in mercy again, for the Lord still remembers the depth of your pain.
You are not forgotten, you are not unseen. The God of compassion still knows where you've been. Every tear has a purpose, every sorrow a place, and every broken heart can still rest in His grace.
God still sees your pain. It's when the silence feels heavier than stone, when the room feels too empty and you feel too alone, when the battles you fought leave your spirit worn thin, and the strength you once carried feels lost deep within. You kneel down in shadows with trembling hands, not knowing if heaven still understands. Words feel too fragile to carry your pain, so your prayer becomes silence again and again. But the Father of mercy still hears every breath, even whispers that tremble on the edge of regret. For He stands in the darkness where broken hearts fall, and His love still reaches through the quietest call. This is a prayer for the broken spirit tonight, for the soul that is tired from too many fights, for the heart that kept open but feels torn apart, for the wounds hidden deep in the chambers of the heart. Let the mercy of heaven fall gentle and slow, like a warm healing river where the wounded can go. This is a prayer for the broken and worn, for the night before healing begins to be born. You have carried your sorrow through valleys unseen, through memories heavy and places between. You have held back your tears so the world wouldn't know just how deep the fractures inside you could go. You kept walking through storms that no one could see, kept believing that somehow God still noticed your plea. And though faith felt fragile and hope felt delayed, still your knees found the ground when your heart tried to pray. For even the quietest cry of despair is a song that the heavens are willing to hear. And the God who remembers each star in the night still remembers the soul that keeps searching for light. This is a prayer for the broken spirit tonight, for the soul that is tired from too many fights, for the heart that kept hoping but feels torn apart, for the wounds hidden deep in the chambers of the heart. Let the mercy of heaven fall gentle and slow, like a warm healing river where the wounded can go. This is a prayer for the broken and worn, for the night before healing begins to be born. Healing often begins in the quiet unknown, not in thunder or fire, but in seeds gently sown. Sometimes grace moves slowly through shadows and tears, through the fragile surrender of unspoken fears. Sometimes strength is simply still choosing to stay, still breathing through darkness and learning to pray. And the Lord who has watched you through every despair is still weaving redemption through every prayer. He is mending the fracture that sorrow once made, placing light in the places where faith almost gave. Even now in the silence where doubt tried to start, His compassion is moving through your wounded heart. You are not abandoned, you are not alone. Every broken spirit is known by the throne. Every tear has a story that heaven can read, and the Lord of compassion is meeting your need. This is a prayer for the broken spirit tonight, for the soul that is longing for rest after fight, for the heart that kept loving though shattered by pain, for the faith that kept rising again and again. And the God who restores what sorrow has torn is already preparing a healing new dawn. This is a prayer for the wounded who start to feel quiet new mercy inside of their heart. There are burdens you carry no one else can see, hidden deep in the silence where your heart used to be. Every day you keep walking, though your strength feels thin, holding storms in your chest that no one has been in. You smile for the world while the weight grows inside, keeping pain in the shadow where the truth tries to hide. But the road was never meant for one soul alone, and the sorrow you carry was never your own. For the cross stands eternal, where mercy still meets every wounded believer who falls at His feet. And the Lord of compassion still whispers so sweet, lay your worries down gently, right here at my feet. Lay your worries at His feet tonight. Let His mercy carry the fight. Every burden you try to hold can rest where His grace unfolds. You are never meant to stand alone. With every shadow you have known, lay your worries at His feet tonight, and let His love restore your life. You have tried to be strong through the darkest of days, tried to silence the fear
You have prayed through the hours
when answers fell late,
still believing in mercy.
despite all the way,
But even the strongest
will tremble and bend.
when the night feels too long and the strength starts to end. And the God who knows sorrow
More deeply than men,
still invites every heart,
to surrender again.
for his shoulders are broader
Than every despair,
and his hands hold a kindness no burden can wear. So release what is broken
your courage for weak,
and lay every fear.
the place where he speaks.
Oh, lay your worries at his feet tonight. Let his mercy carry the fight. Oh, and every burden you try to hold can rest where his grace unfolds. You are never meant to stand alone. With every shadow you have known, lay your worries at his feet tonight. Let his love restore your life. Sometimes peace begins slowly, like dawn in the east, like a whisper of comfort that refuses to cease. Sometimes healing is simply a moment of rest, when the storm in your spirit no longer protests, and the Lord who still listens
When voices grow weak,
will gather each prayer.
your lips cannot speak.
For the tears that fall softly
When no one can see,
are still sacred before him
through eternity,
and the love that once carried
across through the pain,
is the love that now lifts you.
again and again.
So breathe in his mercy,
And let your heart see
the peace that is waiting at his quiet feet. Lay the weight down,
lay the fear down,
lay the sorrow
lay the sorrow.
that held you here. Grace is waiting,
Arms are open,
you are safe when he is near. Oh, lay your worries at his feet tonight. Let his mercy carry the fight. Every shadow that filled your soul can fade where his mercies flow. You are never forgotten here, even in sorrow, even in fear. Lay your worries at his feet tonight and rest in his endless. Nights when the darkness feels deeper than before, when the silence grows louder than the pain you ignore, when the road that you're walking disappears in the night, and the faith that once guided you loses its light. You may sit in the stillness with questions that burn, wondering if the heavens will ever return.
you once believed true still remembers the battles you're struggling through. But the God who made morning from the depths of the night still walks through the valley when hope leaves your sight. He is not far from sorrow, not distant from fear. For the night may be dark, but your God is still near. The night is dark, but
God is near,
closer than every
hidden fear.
when your strength begins to fade, His faithful love will still remain through every shadow.
You must face
His mercy moves with quiet grace. The night is dark, but do not fear, for even now your God is near. You have stood in the silence where prayers felt delayed, kept believing in mercy, though answers once strayed. You have carried the weight of the storms in your soul, held together the pieces that once made you whole. And though no one around you could see what you find, you kept walking by faith through the depths of the night. Every step that felt fragile, every tear that you cried, every whisper of hope that refused still to die. All of these moments
seen from above
gathered in patience
and covered in love.
for the Lord who keeps watch
When the world disappears,
is the same faithful God.
He's always been near.
The night is dark,
But God is near,
closer than every
hidden fear.
when your strength begins to fade, His faithful love will still remain through every shadow.
You must face
His mercy moves with quiet grace. The night is dark, but do not fear, for even now your God is near. Sometimes the light comes slowly through windows of pain, like a whisper of healing that falls like the rain. Sometimes the answer is simply to stay, to breathe through the darkness and continue to pray for the God who created the dawn and the day, is still writing redemption in hidden ways. Even now He is moving where doubt tried to grow. that bends your heart low may become the beginning of mercy to show. So rest for a moment, let the silence appear, for the night may be dark, but your God is still near. Ooh, yeah.
Even in silence,
Oh, He walks beside you.
even in silence,
Oh, His mercy will guide you.
even in darkness,
His light will remain. Love stronger than sorrow, hope stronger than pain. It is dark,
God is near.
holding every fallen tear.
God is here.
When the world feels cold and wide, His gentle peace walks by your side. Through every valley,
Every year,
His faithful love is always here.
always here.
The night is dark, but do not fear, for even now your God is near. There are whispers of worry that visit your mind, little shadows of doubt that refuse to be kind. They remind you of moments you wish you could change, of the roads that grew crooked, of the storms that remain. And sometimes the future looks distant and cold, like a story unfinished, too painful to hold. Fear begins writing its words in your chest, telling your spirit there is no true rest. But the voice of compassion is quieter, clear, the whisper of mercy that outlives your fear. For the God who has carried your life from the start still guards every corner and beat of your heart. His grace is stronger than your fear tonight, stronger than the shadows in the fading light. When your faith feels fragile, barely holding on, His mercy keeps singing the same healing song. Every trembling heartbeat, every silent prayer is already resting in His faithful care. His grace is stronger than your fear tonight, and His love will guide you through the night. You have stood in the middle of moments unclear, when tomorrow felt distant and hope disappeared. You have wondered if faith was too fragile to stay, if the prayers you have spoken
mercy keeps moving, though hearts slowly wake. The Lord does not measure your courage by might. He walks with the weary through each lonely night. Even when trembling shakes your belief, His kindness still rises to answer your grief. For the cross was not lifted for perfect hearts alone, but for souls who keep searching for mercy unknown. His grace is stronger than your fear tonight, stronger than the shadows in the fading light. When your faith feels fragile, barely holding on, His mercy keeps singing the same healing song. Every trembling heartbeat, every silent prayer is already resting in His faithful care. His grace is stronger than your fear tonight, and His love will guide you through the night. Fear may return like a storm to the shore, knocking again on the same fragile door. But grace stands patient with arms open wide, whispering gently, I am still by your side. For the God who created the dawn in the sky knows the language of tears when the wounded still cry. He turns every sorrow toward rivers of peace, every restless heart toward a quiet release. And the fear that once ruled like a shadow inside will slowly surrender where mercy resides. So breathe in His presence and quietly hear His grace is much stronger than all of your fear. Fear may whisper in the quiet night, but grace keeps arising with gentle light. Where doubt once lived, hope will appear, for grace is stronger than every fear. His grace is stronger than your fear tonight, brighter than the darkest fading light. When the road grows silent and your strength feels gone, His mercy will carry your heart along. Every tear you carry, every hidden prayer is already resting in His tender care. His grace is stronger than your fear tonight, and His love will lead you into life. There are tears that fall softly when no one can see, in the quietest corners of your memory. They are born from the battles no voice ever told, from the stories of sorrow your heart had to hold. They fall in the silence between every breath, in the fragile moments where hope nearly left. You may wonder if heaven still hears through the pain,
if the tears that are falling in vain. But the God who created the ocean so wide knows the rivers of sorrow you carry inside. Every tear has a language no words can explain, and heaven still listens when hearts ache with pain. Let your tears become a prayer tonight. Let them rise through the silent night. Every sorrow you try to hide is already known on heaven's side. Every tear that falls unseen still reaches where His grace has been. Let your tears become a prayer tonight, and trust that mercy hears your cry. You were taught to be strong when the storms arrive, to keep walking through sorrow and simply survive. So you buried your questions and swallowed your pain, learning how to stand steady through quiet rain. But the Lord never asked you to silence your heart, never asked you to carry such weight from the start. For the shepherd of mercy still gathers each tear like a treasure of faith that He holds very near. Even tears that fall slowly in moments alone are a prayer that is rising before heaven's throne. And the God who remembers each star in the sky also remembers each tear that you cry. Let your tears become a prayer tonight. Let them rise through the silent night. Every sorrow you try to hide is already known on heaven's side. Every tear that falls unseen still reaches where His grace has been. Let your tears become a prayer tonight, and trust that mercy hears your cry. Sometimes healing begins where the tears first fall, in the quiet surrender of giving it all. Sometimes mercy arrives like a soft gentle rain, touching wounds that were buried beneath layers of pain. And the tears that you feared were a sign of defeat become seeds of redemption at the Savior's feet. For the Lord does not measure the strength that you show, He treasures the faith that still chooses to grow. Even sorrow can bloom into grace over time as His love keeps rewriting the end of the line. So let every tear fall without hiding the pain, for each drop is a prayer that heaven will sustain. Every tear has a meaning, every sorrow a place, every broken moment can still meet His grace. Let your tears become a prayer tonight, rising softly through fading light. Every wound that once held your heart can be healed where His mercy starts. You are never unseen in despair. Every tear becomes a prayer. Let your tears There are moments in life when the noise fades away, and the answers you hope for refuse still to stay. When the prayers that you whispered return without sound, and the strength you were holding feels nowhere around. You may sit in the silence with questions inside, wondering if heaven has turned from your side. But the God who made morning from darkness and night still moves through the shadows beyond human sight. For not every miracle shouts through the air. Sometimes grace moves softly through unanswered prayer. And the Lord who knows sorrow more deeply than men is already working where silence has been. He is healing you in silence tonight, working gently beyond human sight. Every wound that the world cannot see still receives His quiet mercy. Answers feel distant and slow, His compassion continues to flow. He is healing you in silence tonight, guiding sorrow toward morning light. You have waited through hours that seemed without end, kept believing that mercy would someday descend. You have held on to faith when your courage felt thin, learning patience through battles you quietly lived in. And though no one around you could see what you faced, heaven watched every step of the road you embraced. Every tear you surrendered in moments of pain became seeds of compassion that grace would sustain. For the Lord never wastes any sorrow you bear. He reshapes every wound through the language of prayer. He is healing you in silence tonight, working gently beyond human sight. See, still receives His quiet mercy. When the answers feel distant and slow, His compassion continues to flow. He is healing you in silence tonight, guiding sorrow toward morning light. Sometimes healing arrives like a whisper of rain, touching softly the roots of forgotten pain. Sometimes mercy begins in the quiet unknown, where the broken discover they're never alone. And the God who remembers each star in the sky still remembers the tears you could never deny. Even now in the stillness where doubt tried to grow, His redemption is moving more deeply than you know. For the silence you feared was not empty at all. It was grace slowly rising to answer your call. Silence is not abandonment. Silence is not the end. Sometimes God is closest when the world grows quiet again. He is healing you in silence tonight, mending wounds hidden deep out of sight. Every sorrow that bent your soul low is a place where His mercy can flow. Though the road may seem lonely and long, His compassion is steady and strong. He is healing you in silence tonight, turning darkness toward healing light. There are days when the weight on your heart feels too strong, and the road that you're walking seems endlessly long. Every step feels uncertain, every breath feels delayed, as the hope you were holding slowly begins to fade. You have carried the worries no one could see, quiet battles of sorrow that live silently. You have tried to stay steady when storms would appear, holding faith through the night that were heavy with fear. But the Lord who sees sparrows when they fall from the sky still watches the tears that fall from your eyes. And the hands that once carried a cross through the pain are still strong enough now to carry your pain. The Lord is carrying your burden tonight,
Holding your sorrow through the darkest fight.
every fear that bends your heart low.
He's the way He already knows.
You are not walking this road alone.
Every tear is already known.
The Lord is carrying your burden tonight,
Leading your soul back into life.
you have tried to be stronger than sorrow and fear. Try to silence the doubt that keeps drawing near. You have held on to hope, through the hardest of days, still believing in mercy through mysterious ways. But even the faithful grow weary in pain. Even strong hearts grow tired, standing out in the rain. And the God who knows weakness more deeply than all is the same loving Father who answers your call. He does not expect you to carry the load that only His mercy was meant to hold. For the Savior who walked through suffering before still lifts every heart that can carry no more. The Lord is carrying your burden tonight,
Holding your sorrow through the darkest fight.
every fear that bends your heart low
Is a way He already knows.
You are not walking this road alone.
Every tear is already known.
The Lord is carrying your burden tonight,
Leading your soul back into life.
sometimes peace begins when surrender appears, when you loosen the grip on your struggles and fears. Sometimes healing begins when your spirit can see that the mercy of heaven still flows endlessly. For the Lord does not measure your courage by might. He simply walks with you through every long night. And the burden you thought would crush you apart is already resting inside His heart. So breathe in His mercy and quietly see the grace that was waiting for you patiently. Even now in the silence where doubt used to live, His compassion is stronger than all you can give. You are not forgotten. You are not alone. Every burden you carry is known by the throne. The Lord is carrying your burden tonight,
Guiding your sorrow toward healing light.
every shadow that filled your soul.
It's already under His control.
You are never walking alone in the night.
His mercy surrounds you with gentle light.
The Lord is carrying your burden tonight,
And His love will make your spirit rise.
The night has been long, and your heart feels worn thin, like a traveler walking through storms deep within. You have carried the weight of too many days, too many questions lost in the haze. You have whispered your prayers in the quiet unseen, hoping heaven remembers the places you've been. And though silence surrounded the words that you gave, the Lord of compassion was never away. For every small prayer that trembled inside was heard by the mercy that walks by your side. And the God who is watching every tear that you cried still prepares gentle healing mercy and peace. Let the storms in your spirit release every sorrow that bent your soul low. Can be carried where His mercies flow. You are safe in the grace that remains, in the love that outlives all the pain. Rest tonight in God's mercy and light, and let heaven restore you tonight. You were never created to carry it all, every burden alone, every rise and each fall. Even strong hearts grow weary when battles remain, when the road becomes heavy with memory and pain. But the shepherd of mercy still calls through the night, gently guiding the lost toward healing and light. He remembers the places your spirit once broke, every silent surrender no language could spoke, and the grace that once lifted the cross through the pain is the same endless mercy that heals you again. Even now in the silence where sorrow once stayed, His compassion is weaving the peace you once prayed. Rest tonight in God's mercy and peace. Let the storms in your spirit relieve every sorrow that bent your soul low. Can be carried where His mercies flow. You are safe in the grace that remains, in the love that outlives all the pain. Rest tonight in God's mercy and light, and let heaven restore you tonight. Morning always arrives, though the night feels too long, bringing quiet reminders that mercy is strong. And the wounds that once felt like the end of your way may become the beginning of grace in a day. For the Lord who has walked through the valley before still opens compassion through heaven's wide door. Even sorrow can bloom into healing in time, like a soft gentle sunrise through clouds that once climbed. So release every fear that once lived in your chest, and allow your tired spirit to finally rest. For the God who still guards you through every dark sea is the same loving Father who whispers, be free. Lay your heart down, lay your fears down, let the night become still. Grace is rising, hope is breathing, and His mercy will heal. Rest tonight in God's mercy and peace. Let the storms in your spirit release every shadow that once filled your soul is now under His gentle control.